In today's world, some people forget to be respectful. They start arguments or bother others without thinking.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
But sometimes they annoy the wrong people. And today we'll explore stories of people who faced unexpected consequences.
Oh God.
Today, we'll meet these daring individuals who learned the hard way not to mess with the wrong people. Number 15. Big guy, small car versus little man, big truck. There's a popular Nigeria hip-hop track that says, "No go day do pass yourself," which basically translates to don't bite off more than you can chew. And this guy here is a perfect example of why you shouldn't. One day on the highway, things took a turn when a small coupe stuffed like a can of sardines found itself in a showdown with a colossal truck. The guy behind the wheel of the truck went all out, honking his horn like a madman possessed, and tossing curses as though they were confetti. You would think it was a contest, but it was just road rage at its finest. Little did the road warrior know, though, that the driver in front was no ordinary Joe. He was a walking and talking mountain of muscle who was very strong and tall, and when the little guy stomped out of his car, fists shaking in anger, he had no idea what was coming. The big guy from the coupe also stepped out and did not miss a beat. He casually grabbed the troublemaker by the collar, lifting him into the air like a helium balloon, and it was a scene out of a comedy show. He then proceeded to throw the man into the bed of his vehicle. The moral of the story? Don't mess with the wrong people on the road, especially when you're in a David and Goliath situation. Number 14. The right plan, wrong location. Now, who doesn't love a good prank? Let's talk about the times when that harmless fun turns into a roller coaster ride of chaos and fear, because the next one will make you think twice before pulling a prank on the wrong person. Dennis C., the king of outrageous pranks, decided to team up with his Jinkies TV buddies for a little secret adventure in East New York. Their grand idea was to sell water guns to unsuspecting strangers, which sounds innocent enough, but those pranksters strolled up to random people claiming that they were selling gats.
Hey, yo, what's up, homie? I got some gats on deck. You need some?
Which is like a street slang for firearms. But according to the reactions they got, it was not so funny. Instead of chuckles, they would be met with rage, heated arguments, and even a few flying fists. As if that was not enough, they then took their act to a local park, and little did they know that 3 people there were in the mood for no pranks. The moment their water gun charade began, one of the park goers pulled out a real gun. I'm talking about the kind that goes bang. He pointed it straight at Dennis, and panic mode was activated. At that moment, a confession was made that it was just a harmless water gun. He begged and pleaded, frantically explaining it was all in good fun. But unfortunately, the video ends there, leaving everyone to wonder what happens next. Number 13. Carita versus HB20. When the hustle and bustle of Sao Paulo's traffic gets to you, road rage can take on a whole new level. That's what happened at the Bom Sucesso intersection, a place known for its traffic madness. In this showdown, a truck driver was caught up in a road rage incident that would leave anyone's jaw dropping. The conflict would be ignited by a traffic cutoff and quickly escalated into a spectacle. The truck driver decided he had had enough of the drama, and he took matters into his own hands and hooked his truck onto a much smaller target, an HB20 vehicle. It became a battle of David and Goliath, but with a twist, because instead of a slingshot and a stone, he had a monstrous truck. What took place next was nothing short of amazing. The driver nonchalantly drugged the HB20 as if it were a mere toy car. You may expect the car to crumble under the force, but the truck just kept on going. It's a sight that's sure to make you question the laws of physics. The story doesn't end there, though. The owner of the car was not one to back down quietly and had a retaliation of his own in mind, and let's just say it was not the friendly kind. Number 12. A slap for a slap. In the world of unexpected street confrontations, this story takes the cake. It all went down when a man was enjoying a peaceful meal at a local restaurant, completely minding his own business, but the trouble was just around the corner. Thanks to the restaurant's surveillance cameras, we witness a bizarre moment in all of its glory, when out of the blue, a random passerby decided to deliver a hefty slap to the back of the man's head. It was an unprovoked attack, and the victim's expression would be nothing short of bewildered. But in a twist worthy of a Hollywood script, the victim did not back down. With lightning-fast reflexes, he leapt to his feet, ready to confront the slap-happy stranger. The man who had initiated the unprovoked attack had initially appeared rather calm, He was just an ordinary passerby, or so it seemed. He might have appeared to be a harmless homeless person asking for help from the restaurant's customers, but perhaps he assumed that the person that he slapped wouldn't react. He could not have been more wrong, because the man left his food inside and tracked the guy outside to deliver his own slap back. Number 11. Delivery guy and angry driver. Have you ever heard of a road rage turning into a real-life nightmare? Well, here's a story that'll make you think twice before honking that horn or cutting someone off on the road. This simple traffic dispute turned into a high-speed drama when a motorist decided to let his rage do the talking. It all unfolded when a delivery driver had a run-in with a furious driver in a Fiat Siena. Now let me break it down for you. The man is going about his delivery business when the Fiat Siena driver suddenly swerves in front of him, cutting him off. It's a near miss that could have caused a nasty collision, but the man, being the responsible guy he is, tries to let the hot-headed driver know about his mistake. Here's where things go completely south, though. That driver in the Fiat, he's not in the mood for apologies or polite warnings, but instead decides to go full-on crazy. He makes a deliberate move, swerving his car right into the delivery driver. The impact sends him tumbling from his motorcycle, but that's not enough. The driver of the Fiat then decides to take things up a notch by spinning his car around, and then, believe it or not, drives right over the motorcycle, crushing it into a pile of scrap metal. And to top it off, the road rager pulls the ultimate disappearing act, leaving the delivery guy to deal with the wreckage and the consequences of his insane actions. Number 10. Party stopper. Sometimes when people act without considering the convenience of others, you've got to retaliate within equal measure. Like this showdown where a frustrated neighbor decided to take matters into his own hands, or should I say, with his own drone. The guy was done with the never-ending noise from his neighbor's wild party, which was taking place right next door, and while most of us may think about calling the police or even complaining, the guy had a different idea. That's because he had a drone at his disposal, and he was about to put it to some creative use. He attached a bunch of fireworks, ignited the fuses, and then off it went into the night sky right over the party. Just imagine the scene. The drone turned into a fireworks show all by itself. The fireworks began blasting and zooming toward the party, setting the night ablaze. Partygoers, thinking that they had stumbled into a war zone, scattered in every direction and startled like pigeons. And the results? Well, the neighbor can safely say that he succeeded in shutting the party down. The loud music was silenced, the partygoers had disappeared into thin air, and it's an unconventional ending to a noisy night for sure. Some may say calling the police was a more sensible choice, but the guy decided to go with an explosive solution instead. Number 9. Bike bandits get a taste of BMX justice. This guy is cruising down the street on his BMX bicycle, enjoying the breeze and the attention he's getting, and just minding his own business when a woman suddenly rolls up, fascinated by his bike style. She's got a lot of questions, but here's where the story takes a twist. As the lady bombards him with questions about his beloved bike, our BMX champ begins to get suspicious, because he then spots a guy lurking behind her, moving like a shadow. The red flags go up, and wasting no time, the hero hops onto his bike and pedals away like his life depends on it.
Where'd you get this?
Sorry. Yeah.
Because in a way, it does. He quickly figures out this whole chit-chat was a clever ruse, an ambush in disguise to snatch his prized BMX bike. The guy behind the lady was no longer playing it cool. He begins chasing the guy on the bike, and like there's no tomorrow. However, the rider is no ordinary person. He kicks up the pace and makes a quick escape. If that was the end of the story, it would be impressive enough, but it still goes on. Ahead, more shadowy figures are trying to block his path, thinking that they have him cornered. But the BMX magician isn't having any of it. He reads the situation like a pro and slips through their grasp, leaving them in the dust with jaws dropped and dreams of bike theft shattered. Number 8. Carjackers lose to trucker. Now, Chile may be considered safer than its neighbors, but carjacking is a real issue, especially around those freeway ramps. They've even got their own style of carjacking, which means targeting drivers when they're entering or leaving car gates at apartments or parking garages, and it is quite sneaky. But back to the trucker. He's just minding his own business when two would-be carjackers come charging out of a stolen SUV, thinking they can stop the truck, but the trucker is not having any of it. In a jaw-dropping video, we see the carjackers stumbling out of the stolen ride, trying to pull off their heist, but the trucker has some other plans. He throws his truck into gear and hits the gas, and with the carjackers right in front of him, the trucker goes full throttle, sending them scattering like leaves in the wind. It's like a scene out of an action film, and the whole incident was caught on video, spreading like wildfire on social media. Number 7. Machete versus sword. A real-life action thriller unfolded in a Pittsburgh convenience store where two daring teens, decked out like ninjas, thought that they could pull off an epic robbery. Little did they know they were about to face off against a cashier that was no stranger to a scimitar-style sword. The two wannabe robbers storm into the store, one of them wielding a menacing machete demanding the cash. But they clearly didn't see this coming. Jawad, the fearless cashier who never backs down when danger comes knocking, was not about to let himself be anyone's victim. In a flash, he whips out his Sinbad-style scimitar, which, let's be real, is no ordinary sword. It's like something out of a movie. And with his trusty scimitar in hand, he goes full-on ninja mode, skillfully disarming one of the robbers with a single swipe. He sends that machete flying, and it didn't stand a chance against his curvy, formidable scimitar. It's like bringing a plastic sword to a steel fight. And the other criminal's escape plan did not pan out as expected.
I use this one when I see him with a sword to make him afraid.
A customer leaps into the scene trying to be a hero, but the teenager isn't going down without a fight. He wriggles free, and along with his partner makes a mad dash for the exit. In the end, the store and its fearless cashier remained unharmed. Number 6. Marine fights robber. At a Kentucky gas station, two would-be robbers walked in, thinking they had an easy target in Aaron Jacobs, the lone cashier who was working the night shift. Yet, they had to learn the hard way who they were up against. Aaron was more than just your average cashier. He was a former Marine combat trainer and also holds a black belt in karate.
Jacobs is a former Marine combat instructor and a black belt in karate with more than 25 years of training.
When one of the criminals crept up behind him with a menacing 12-inch blade, they must have thought they had the upper hand, but in the blink of an eye, he unleashed his martial arts skills, disarming the attacker, swiftly subduing him in the process. With a move that could rival any action hero, Jacobs knocked the perpetrator face first into a display shelf, sending him running for cover. The other criminal, witnessing the epic takedown, had a change of heart and beat a hasty retreat. Jacobs' years of training had paid off big time that night, and he single-handedly put an end to an armed criminal and kept himself and the gas station safe. The message was clear: never mess with a former Marine. Number 5. Prankster gets punched. We've all seen those funny pranks on TikTok, but sometimes things can take an unexpected turn. In this video, a couple of TikTok pranksters decided to pull off what they thought was a hilarious stunt that ended with a punch that nobody saw coming. They were pretending to film an interview, all while secretly hatching a plan to throw what appeared to be a harmless plastic fruit at an unsuspecting man leaving the supermarket. It seemed like a harmless prank, but they were wrong. As that fruit hits the man, he quickly figures out he's the target of their shenanigans. With nobody around and another person from the supermarket confirming their involvement, the man decides to approach them calmly, seemingly prepared for a chat. But that's when things take an unexpected twist. In most situations like this, you would expect some words to be exchanged before anyone gets to physical violence, but in this case, the man skipped the talking part and delivered a solid slap across one of the pranksters' faces. Now, was it all staged, or did things get real? The video leaves you hanging with no clear context, setup or aftermath, but one thing is for sure, pranks will sometimes go way too far, and this one ended with a bang, or rather a slap. Number 4. Gang signs. When it comes to signs, there are better ideas than tossing them around like confetti, especially in unfamiliar territory. The peace symbol in one place may mean something completely different in another, so one sign, one person, but different locations can lead to a vastly different outcome. This is a lesson that some people learn the hard way. Alfredo and his friends were known for their audacious pranks, often taking on gang members and tough-looking individuals. In this video, they threw caution to the wind, deciding to mimic gang signs and gestures, expecting to get a good laugh and entertain their audience. But little did they know, they were stepping into a world that was full of deep-rooted history, cultural significance, and territorial boundary. As they strolled through the neighborhood, trying to replicate these gang signs, their intentions of harmless fun would quickly take a dark turn. What was once laughter had turned to stern faces, and an aura of tension hung in the heavy air. These pranksters had entered a realm where respect and understanding were non-negotiable. Instead of laughter and entertainment, their actions had triggered anger and hostility. The individuals that they had playfully targeted did not find it amusing, and in fact, found themselves in hot pursuit, chased by a couple of guys, with Alfredo facing off against someone twice his size. Things got so heated that one man just wouldn't stop chasing him, but fortunately they managed to escape unscathed. Number 3. Parking spot revenge. This next one has probably happened to you before. You're cruising through a parking lot looking for that perfect space, and you spot it, but then someone else is waiting for the current occupant to leave. It's common courtesy, right? Well, not for the guy in the BMW. He decided to throw all manners out the window and swoop in, grabbing the spot that the patient Jeep driver had their eyes on. And what did the BMW driver do? Well, perhaps he believed he was more clever than everyone else. As it turned out, though, the Jeep driver was not about to let it go. Without remorse or hesitation, the Jeep driver hatched a plan, deciding it was time to dish out some parking spot revenge. He grabbed his trusty winch and hooked it up to the BMW, and with a flick of the switch, began to tow the luxury car from its ill-gotten spot. The BMW would be no match for the Jeep's winch. With each inch that it moved, the driver would later realize that he had messed with the wrong person. The look on his face must have been priceless, as the Jeep driver confidently towed that BMW from the parking spot and took what was rightfully his. Number 2. You spit, you get drenched. In this world, some people cannot resist messing with other people's business. One such man had a peculiar hobby, spitting on the shiny new cars at a local dealership. Your guess is as good as mine as to why. Perhaps it was hate or jealousy, the world may never know. What we do know is that this guy had a taste for some mischievous behavior, and like clockwork, every time he strolled past that dealership, he made it his mission to spit on those fresh off the lot cars. Perhaps he thought he could get away with it forever, but as fate would have it, he had a surprise coming his way. One day he did his usual routine and must have felt invincible, believing he'd once again avoid consequence. But boy was he wrong. As he tried to pedal away, thinking he'd outsmarted the world, he suddenly found himself drenched in bone-chilling water. One of the dealership's staff members had a plan to put an end to the madness. Imagine the guy's shock when that freezing deluge hit him. It was like a dose of instant karma served with a side of icy payback. He never thought twice about his nasty habit, but this day, he learned that messing with other people's property can come back to bite you, or in this case, leave you drenched. Number 1. Squirt prank gone wrong. Some people just cannot resist a good prank, especially when they think they're about to pull a fast one on someone. In this particular case, a naughty customer thought she could outwit a fast food employee. She had a water gun concealed on her lap, and with the camera rolling and mischief on her mind, she approached the counter to pick up her food. She didn't reach out for the order like a regular customer, though. She unleashed a torrent of water from her secret weapon, drenching the unsuspecting employee. It was meant to be a hilarious surprise, but little did she know things were about to take an unexpected turn. The wet and now thoroughly annoyed employee decided to respond with a twist of her own, but there wasn't any more water. Oh no, she went for something more intense. A giant cup of scalding hot coffee. Now it's safe to say that the customer got more than she bargained for, and in this case, the consequences were anything but refreshing. While most people would tend to avoid a confrontation they know they can't win, sometimes they get shocked, even when the ones they thought were in their favor turned around like the ones we spoke about. If you have any stories of idiots who messed with the wrong people, share them in the comments section down below.